Get a phone call, they tell me that they want to do a camera test. I'm like, again, camera test, again, another, almost.
All right, so you're ready
and
to
then
set
I'm like,
yourself
okay,
up for
whatever,
rejection.
what am I being testing for?
What was it like seeing yourself for the first time in full Snow White drag?
I love that description. It's perfect. Oh my God, well, when you get to wear Sandy Powell, first of all, insane.
Is not designed right now to necessarily develop great leaders or to encourage more people to seek public office.
There was a time when simply saying Disney's name assured magic. Fairy tales, princesses, and bright animations influenced our childhood fantasies, leaving behind memories that still touch our hearts. But now a whirlpool of dispute threatens to obliterate its radiance. It focuses on Disney's impending live-action Snow White, a remake of the 1937 film that was previously regarded as the pinnacle of animated cinema. Even before the film's premiere, poor publicity, furious fan outrage, and social media fights have laid the groundwork for what may be Disney's most tumultuous production in years. Rachel Zegler, the actress entrusted with bringing Snow White to life, has unintentionally become a lightning rod for controversy. Her statements about the original tale being obsolete and the prince's strange behavior have put her in direct contrast to Disney's conventional fan base, people who have known and loved these personalities since they were children. Gal Gadot, who plays the villainous queen, is said to have been sidelined and is not happy about it. Together, Zegler's public words and Gadot's quiet but sharp reactions have resulted in a confrontation that Disney never planned. How did a reworking of one of Disney's most famous fairy tales turn into such a huge disaster? And how did two of Hollywood's rising stars end up at the center of a maelstrom that threatens to rewrite Disney's future? The entire event highlights deeper flaws in the House of Mouse: political posture, artistic direction, and the disturbing inability to satisfy everyone from cast to fans. And so today, instead of discussing what happened, instead talking about what might happen next. Today, we're revealing what some consider to be Disney's newest tragedy.
That would be my preference as well.
Why your preference?
Well, look, I'm going to be 72 years old tomorrow. I've put in almost 50 years. There are other things in life that I'd like to do. I also am confident that the board will be able to identify an able successor.
Everyone is familiar with the story of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Walt Disney's first feature-length animated film, released in 1937, was a remarkable achievement in cinematic history. Snow White's creativity, emotional lyrics, and adorable innocence helped form the model for Disney heroines for decades. Audiences who've seen the original masterwork frequently talk of it with respect, noting how its simple message of love and hope transcended its time. So when Disney revealed that it would make a live-action adaptation of its first masterpiece, the stakes were high. Fans worried if the studio could recreate the original charm for current audiences. On paper, the strategy appeared to make sense: expand on the film's cherished heritage, incorporate new musical numbers, and offer a new twist for modern audiences. However, the transition from concept to implementation appears to have gone horribly wrong. As rumors spread regarding behind-the-scenes modifications, updated characters, and even altered plot arcs, several fans were concerned. Nostalgia is powerful, and changing a classic risks alienating people who value it. Nonetheless, Disney has found success in reinventing classics like Cinderella and Beauty and the Beast. Many admirers anticipated Snow White would go a same route. However, the dream began to crumble as soon as Rachel Zegler discussed the film. When fans learned that Rachel Zegler would play Snow White, they were intrigued.
We wrapped on a Tuesday, and then I moved to Poland on the Wednesday and started shooting.
Oh my God.
So it was a hard, goodbye that I feel like I mourned the wrap of Snow White while I was in the middle of kind of getting my bearings on the Hunger Games set.
She had showed potential in prior roles and was seen as a budding star with exceptional singing abilities. However, Zegler's interviews soon became the subject of negative headlines. Instead of complimenting the original film's appeal, she highlighted its flaws. She referred to the iconic prince as a stalker, which many people found extremely harsh for such a popular children's character. Zegler also criticized the earlier tale as strange and out of date, causing a wave of dissatisfaction among Disney fans. Fans shared footage of her interviews, eliciting comments ranging from mild astonishment to outrage. A substantial number of people believed that if an actress agreed to play a famous part, she should honor the film's past, even if her goal was to modernize the character. Some saw her statements as dismissive, even contemptuous of the original material. Within days, hashtags advocating for a boycott appeared. Social media feeds were flooded with comments criticizing Zegler's views, calling them tone-deaf and patronizing. There have been at least 122 complaints of Zegler's views, calling them tone-deaf and patronizing. Zegler sought to emphasize that she just wanted to highlight the film's archaic societal conventions, pointing out that Snow White may be remade as a self-sufficient character who isn't obsessed with romance. But the debate had already begun, and it spread like wildfire. YouTubers and bloggers slammed her interviews.
My best friend, and she's the one who sent me the casting notice and said, "Thank me when you're famous." It's the craziest thing ever that it came true in that weird way, and that's why I bring her everywhere, and she's the best ever. But yeah, I put myself on tape. It's the worst tape you've ever seen in your life. I have no idea how I got the part still, and it's being used to teach future casting directors at NYU.
Dissecting each comment, which fueled a never-ending loop of criticism, Disney found itself battling to control the damage as public opinion of the planned remake sunk further. While Zegler's statement sparked the first fire, Gal Gadot's involvement added intricacy that no one expected. Gal Gadot, who is well known for her depiction of Wonder Woman, looked overjoyed at first to be portraying the Wicked Queen. Fans were overjoyed at the prospect of the courageous Amazon warrior stepping into the footsteps of one of Disney's most renowned villains. It seemed like a fantastic new chapter in her already outstanding career. However, rumors quickly arose that Gadot's performance was not as spectacular as she had hoped. According to reports, some of her crucial sequences were removed or chopped down, including significant moments that may have allowed her to shine in a wonderfully wicked way. Gadot, who is generally upbeat and calm, was believed to be unhappy by the alterations. Insiders suggested that she thought the issues surrounding Rachel Zegler had eclipsed the entire production, suffocating any chance for the picture to exist on its own merits. Matters only increased when spectators observed subtle barbs on social media, such as a strange "like here" or a cryptic retweet there. Though Gadot never publicly criticized her co-star, admirers cobbled together clues that suggested a private animosity. According to some insider leaks, Gadot believed Zegler's statements compromised the film's legitimacy. Others stated Gadot was dissatisfied with Disney's seeming focus on managing bad headlines rather than promoting her Wicked Queen's potential magnificence. The production's initially upbeat spirit slowly degenerated into a heated conflict behind the scenes. It's critical to recognize that this Snow White story did not occur in a vacuum. Disney has spent the previous few years navigating a minefield of problems. Under Bob Chapek, the studio became embroiled in a divisive issue when it originally remained mute on Florida's Don't Say Gay statute.
When a creator has pitched you a great story and you've given them the ability to go out and tell that story, you've given them the resources, the money, the tools, the place to tell that story.
Later, he revised his position and denounced it. Both sides criticized Disney, one for not taking a strong enough statement quickly enough, and the other for not taking a stand at all. What arose was a sense that the firm was waffling, too politically shy for some and too political for others. This matchup came after a string of box office disasters. Films like Lightyear and Strange World failed to captivate audiences, prompting observers to question whether Disney's increased emphasis on social message was overshadowing its storytelling. During Chapek's tenure, Disney's once untouchable brand began to suffer, as fans debated if the company had lost its creative spark. Then came Bob Iger's comeback, which many hailed as an opportunity to right the ship. However, the difficulties did not dissipate suddenly. Thus, Snow White became the next chapter in the House of Mouse's larger identity issue. Could Disney update its programming for a changing world while maintaining the fairy tale simplicity that endeared it to millions? Or had it strayed so far into corporate messaging and risk-averse planning that the essence of what made Disney unique was fading? In many respects, the Snow White disaster exemplifies these key problems. Instead of bringing people together, the production has become a flashpoint, highlighting Disney's attempt to please everyone while satisfying no one. A storm was already developing, but it increased when the Snow White teaser video was released. Typically, Disney trailers rely on nostalgia to generate good hype. Instead, the preview was met with an avalanche of dislikes on YouTube, with almost 700,000 thumbs down. Despite receiving barely a tenth of that number of likes, content producers across platforms chipped in, calling it one of the most widely criticized Disney trailers in recent memory. Critics were outraged by anything from the supposed wokeness of the plot modifications to the rumored replacing of the Seven Dwarfs with new magical beings. Longtime admirers wondered if the film was still Snow White at all, or if it was merely another cookie-cutter alteration masquerading as a true retelling. Furthermore, Zegler's comments about the prince and the story's so-called weird romance lingered in the minds of spectators, fueling speculation that Disney was demolishing its own classic for a fast modern makeover. According to insider accounts, the unfavorable response prompted management to look for remedies. Rumors swirled that they will invest more money in reshoots in an effort to lessen the response. Some speculated that the dwarfs would be all CGI, deleting previously released on-set images showing a diverse, multi-handed group. Others believed that the speech may be softened to make Zegler's words appear less disdainful of the original. The government of Singapore protested on social media that the speech was harmful and needed to be taken down. However, these alleged last-minute route changes fueled skepticism even more. If the studio was unsure of its own vision, how could fans trust the end product?
He was like, Jacqueline, if they play Getaway Car or Maroon, she's on crisis watch. Not only did she play Getaway Car, she also played Maroon. I was having a mental breakdown in the audience at MetLife Stadium.
Adding another explosive element to the production, it became a lightning rod for world politics. Gal Gadot, an Israeli actress who has frequently talked about her nation and even served in the Israeli military, found her attitude incompatible with Rachel Zegler's pro-Palestinian tweets. Supporters on both sides of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict seized on the tension, transforming what could have been a little movie dispute into a larger political debate. Gadot's opponents said that her Israeli heritage made her an unpleasant option for a big Disney franchise, but Zegler's supporters praised her outspoken support for humanitarian aid in Gaza. Others, on the other hand, rallied around Gadot, applauding her for demonstrating that love and empathy transcend geopolitical divides. Disney management attempted to maintain a neutral attitude, but when celebrity actresses openly post or like views that skirt or blatantly contradict each other's opinions, neutrality becomes a mirage. Social media users saw subtle barbs, such as Gadot retweeting remarks critical of Zegler's approach, only to delete them later. Zegler, for her part, has quietly refused to retract statements on social justice. What began as an artistic rendition of a children's fairy tale quickly escalated into an ideological clash, with each side convinced that the film's development had become a referendum on real-world concerns. Snow White was caught in the crossfire in a period when the lines between art, politics, and personal belief were blurring. What's next for this troubled picture and for Disney in general? The studio has invested millions of dollars on a product that should be a smash hit simply because of its name recognition. However, the public relations nightmares have left a long shadow. Box office monitors remain skeptical. Skepticism develops when a fresh piece of Zegler's criticism surfaces, or rumors spread about Gadot's dwindling excitement. Disney's management is caught in a dilemma. On the one hand, they've worked hard to broaden and modernize their legendary stories, appealing to new generations who want more progressive interpretations of princess themes. On the other side, they risk alienating individuals who value traditional narratives because of their ageless innocence. The entire situation raises an even more serious question. Has Disney allowed external influences, whether political, social, or business, to distort the spirit of fairy tales? With millions spent, the film will not simply disappear. Disney will move forward, re-edit if required, and try a marketing pivot that may emphasize various viewpoints, perhaps emphasizing the spectacle and music, or showcasing supporting characters to divert attention away from the problems. However, can any amount of advertising retooling salvage a product that many have already declared dead on arrival? For a production that began with so much promise, the way ahead is treacherous, unknown, and filled with landmines. The curtain is about to rise on Snow White, but the audience's applause or jeers may have already been determined long before the opening titles. We've seen Rachel Zegler's polarizing take on the original plot, Gal Gadot's dissatisfaction with cut sequences, and Disney's overall problems as it battles to blend legacy with the needs of a fast-changing cultural world. Every mistake, each interview, misfire, and each moment of social media drama has contributed to what many are calling Disney's biggest PR nightmare in ages. As the release draws nearer, the question isn't simply whether Snow White will make money, but whether Disney can recapture its once unshakable place in the hearts of fans who feel disenchanted. In an era when a single tweet or offhand remark can spark raging debates that reverberate across the internet, can any corporation continue to make these decisions? As for the audience, 1,001 million people, ultimately this entire experience emphasizes an important point. Disney's legacy is a great bequest, but it's also a big load. With each remake, the stakes are higher, the critics sharper, and the public is eager to pass judgment. Will Snow White become a cautionary story of how not to modernize a classic, or will it still surprise everyone with a final twist of genuine Disney enchantment? The fairest answer is that only time will tell.